right. Let's also open that one. All right. It says we're live. Good evening, everybody. All righty. So, how is everybody on this fine night? Sorry, it's been a couple of weeks since I last streamed, but it has been a little crazy over here. Definitely not surviving the heat in Australia. It's finally starting to come down a little bit, but we have had 30 plus days for weeks straight, and that means where I live, that they're doing a lot of preventive burning of the forests near here to prevent bushfires. And that's not fun either, especially not when it affects your breathing and everything like that. So yeah, it's been fun, it's been swell, but we have survived it, and yeah, we're on a yeah, pretty okay night at the moment. It's cooled down a bit. Got my little aircon thingy running besides me, so again, hopefully no noise on the microphone for that. But yeah. Okay. So I've done a couple of things off stream. And we'll go through those. And it says that it's disconnected. That's not good. Oh, let's reconnect it now. So there might be a little hiccup there. Let's hope that's the only one tonight. But let's hope that the stream sort of kind of captures that. Ooh, that was funny. Okay. So we were working last time on our little GoKart track thingy as a demo project for the Godot demo projects repo. I've added some functionality around controllers, so we'll have a play with that in a minute. And I think that it is now at a place that I am happy to leave it where it is as far as the Godot projects or demo projects repo is concerned. So after we play around with what it does, we will duplicate the project, and we're gonna start building it out a little bit for just a fun project at the side. I'm not going to add all that into the demo projects repo. The demo projects repo is supposed to be relatively simple and straightforward. But, you know, we'll see where we end up with. I've also put this thing on itch.io. And I need to see if I can easily find that, because I'm not that familiar with itch.io yet. So, yeah, there we go. So itch.io, go do GoKart. You can actually download the current version. It's only a PCVR version that I've put online. I've not built any of the other versions. But it should work pretty well and pretty nicely. So yeah, should be good. I'm going to, by the way, turn my lights a bit different. I hope that works a bit better. It's shining in my face a little bit too much. And I need to wait until I actually can see the results of this, because I got a delay. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, that should be better. Okay, so anybody who wants to give this a try, I'll copy the link into the video description before we finish today. So anybody who wants to download it can download it, and I'll probably be updating the itch.io page as we add more features to our little game. So yeah, let's just run through it, and we will see. We will see what's changed. Just gonna start up. Obviously, SteamVR needs to start. There we go. And let's see again. How many times am I going to forget to take my glasses off? Yeah, SteamVR is updated. Thank you, SteamVR. That's nice to know. All right, here we go. Come on, there we go. So I'm in my cart. Now, one of the things that you already see is that if I go away from the center position, I now fade to black, and I get a nice please recenter display. Now, that message probably should be a little bit nicer, but yeah, um, it's there. Now the other thing that I've done is if you do not have, why is that so wavy? My road is all wavy for some reason. I'm not sure why. That's weird. That has to do something to do with my track layout, I think. Oh yeah, it's because I broke it up into multiple things. So, oh, well, it is what it is. If I'm not using my VR controllers, and I think I can. No, is it? USD? No, it's not. I thought I had keyboard entry as well. Let me just double check this. Yeah, it should be working with. Yeah, it is. Why wasn't it working before? Did I not have my fingers in the right place? It's so hard to see without it. So, as long as I don't have my XR controllers on, I can control this with keyboard or with gamepad. I just don't have my gamepad currently attached, so I can't really test it with the gamepad. But yeah, I can run around with that. But if I turn my XR controllers on, now I didn't put nice hands in here at the moment. I just made them blocks. So let's wait until they're here. So here's a block, and once they start tracking, yeah, there we go. There's the other block. I got my hands, and if I keep them close enough to the steering wheel, you see that now my hands are ghosted, and we see that my hands are on the steering wheel. Obviously, once we have proper hand matches, you'll see that. You can also see that as I move my hands, I'm steering. I can go all the way to there, and I can go all the way to there. And then if I use the trigger on my right stick, I can drive. And if I use the trigger on my left stick, it brakes. Now there is still one or two problems with the controls for braking and making sure that you reverse only when you let go of the trigger first. But, oh, and sometimes it does that. Sometimes it loses the tracking and then suddenly it decides to go crazy. Here we go. So I'm still trying to figure out why that is, but other than that, most of the time, it's working pretty well. That was me driving into the wall. So here we go. Now the physics simulation of this is crap, but hey, it's a start, right? The other thing that I really want to do is I want to add sound into this, but I need to have some good samples for the. Okay, so yeah, there we see again that I think that when I put my hands too close to each other, I sometimes change the steering wheel the wrong way around, which is really annoying. Here we go. Go-karts do not have very good turning circles. Now I can keep my hands a bit further from each other and maybe prevent that a little bit, but I do have to say that as fun as this is, it's very tiring. So, okay. Let's put that back for a second. Go and put this one on so that I can see something. And yeah, so that is the last thing that I really wanted to add in there, to have this change between controlling it with keyboard, change with controlling it with a gamepad, and controlling it with that. Yeah, so well, indeed, that's kind of the longer term plan with this. I didn't want to go any further than where I am right now for the demo repo, but the idea right now is to make a copy of this, and then start really turning it into a small little go-karting game with a multiplayer option, because I want to play this on stream with some of you guys and just race against each other. I think that would be a fun thing to do. And we'll just see where we end up with that and how quickly we do that. Let me quickly check something. Sorry. Just need to check a message. No, that's all good. No, it's just false alarm. Old message still queued on my thing. AI controlled cars, maybe. I did that before But yeah, I still need to find a really good solution for that. Okay. Now, I was thinking about adding audio just as the last thing before we call the demo project finished, but I haven't been able to find a good free go-kart sound. So, yeah, I looked a bit at free sound and stuff like that. Don't know if it's remembered by login or if it's forgotten again. No, it's remembered this, but if you go for, I don't know, kart sound, the kart. All these are just recordings that are really poor quality, or they're on just on the sideline of a go-kart track with a lot of noise. So if someone has got a good go-kart sound that we can easily use, just something where with varying pitch we can make it work. I am up for getting a sound file. But other than that, we won't have sound in the demo as it stands. Okay. So other changes in here that are important that I've done. Just a little bit of cleanup of the start. VR, or that's the other thing that's important for anybody who's new. So if you go to Godot demo projects, you'll find an XR folder. And in there, you'll find some demos. Now, right now in the master are the character-centric and the origin-centric movement demos. But there is a pull request of mine here. I don't know if anybody more has reacted on it. Not anymore. That contains this project as it is right now. So that is where you can find it. Now, all these projects, and I can actually go into core here. All these projects have a start VR script. And I've tried to keep them the same for all. So I think so far they're still the same for all these projects. This is a variation of the Start VR script that is in XR Tools, but then with the stuff that's specific to XR Tools removed. But it's a really good script for just quickly setting up VR. It's also, if we go to the Godot docs, no, not there. Always forgets the quickest way to get there. It's in Learn. And then I want to be on latest. And then I want to be in the manual. And then there's an XR section here. You'll see that there's also a option here, a better XR script. And that actually details out everything that Start VR script does. So anybody who's interested in that, there might be some small changes between this and the latest version. There's also, by the way, a C# explanation or version of the same file, which is kind of cool. So, yeah, it's a nice little getting started script that basically initializes VR and sets everything up for you, and does all the standard signals that we need. The other thing, which of course is important, is the vehicle script itself. So I do want to do some cleanup at some point in time because I'm not 100% happy about how the go-kart is set up. Also know that the coloring is a little bit weird because I've actually set up the directional lighting to have shadows. I have put it on orthogonal mode. That's actually better on things like quests and stuff like that because it removes a lot of overhead. But yeah, shadows are on. And obviously in the compatibility renderer that we're using here, shadows and lighting look a little bit weird because of the sRGB rendering that we're doing. So you have to tweak the colors a little bit. But one of the things that we also did here, and that's what we did last time on stream, is to break up the go-kart and take out a lot of the parts that move. So you'll see that those are all hidden. Unfortunately, they don't have very good names, but you see a whole bunch of things that are hidden. And we're actually reproducing them here in the steering wheel, anchor, and pivot. So that's all the parts that make up the steering wheel. And you'll see here that I've got two helper remote transform objects. So that's how I've got the hands connected to the steering wheel. We'll look at that code a little bit better. We'll also look at the hand detector in a minute. And And then we have obviously all the wheels set up for our vehicle body physics model. And then for each of those wheels, we have the parts of the go-kart that make up that particular wheel, which is then duplicated from the actual GLTF file that we've used. I think in this case I've done it the long way around. I can't remember exactly because it was already a couple of weeks ago, where I saved all the individual parts. But obviously with importing assets here, there's actually an easier way to do that. So maybe someday I need to update my tutorial on that. Okay. For the XR rig, we then have our XR origin and our head location. Just to recap on that, in our OpenXR settings, we are using where are you? We are using the reference space local, and this means that the starting position of the camera is actually going to be on the origin point, or I should really put it the other way around. The origin point, the center of our tracking space, is going to be where the player's head is the first time that you start your application. It's all handled on the headset, not handled by us, which is a nice thing about this reference space. However, it remembers that across sessions, or some headsets remember that across sessions. And if I step up and I walk away to the other side of my room, I will be outside of my cart, which is one of the reasons why we now black out the screen when you move too far away from that. Now, when you press the recenter option on your headset, or if you're on index, you actually go into the menu and then you select recenter, it will again put the camera, the player's head, and the origin point together, and you will therefore be, properly seated in the go-kart. Excuse me. Hey, Cyber, how you going? Hope you're doing well. So yeah, for this type of games, the local reference space is really, really good. It's a good mode. So that was already set up in the last stream. So new now is the blackout. Is the blackout well, component. This is one that also exists in the other two projects that we have, but I've enhanced it a little bit so that we also have a label in there. Now, by default, that's obviously not shown, but you have your please recenter display text there. And all that we're doing in this script is, let's see, so we have this fade logic, and actually, I think I can actually show that here. So when I go fade, my screen goes black, and the screen goes white, and then we get your please recenter display logic there. So that's what is happening with the fade. So the update fade, if it's 0, we hide our mesh instance and our label. We don't want to see anything, and we turn our set process off. The set process handles the positioning of the label 3D because we want that to move with the head. And if it's on, what we do is we set our fade property on our shader that's on our mesh instance. Now that shader is a special shader that overrides the vertex shader code to make this a full screen rect for both eyes, and it simply blacks out the whole screen. It also has the depth test disabled, so it just blacks out everything. And it has, where are you? The render priority set to 90 to make sure that it's one of the last things that is rendered, and it renders over everything. That's kind of actually interesting because it used to be the wrong way around. I might have that set up wrong in some of the other things. The label, on the other hand, is a normal label object with the only difference that the depth test is turned off. And that is just, again, to make sure that we render it regardless of depth, because else it will be behind the full screen rect. And the other thing that we do here is we set the render priority to 99 and the outline render priority to 98, so that the text is always rendered last. and therefore it's rendered over our black background. And we can see that here we set the modulate and outline modulate colors just to white and black as they are by default, but we then update the fade, and obviously we make it visible. And then at the end, we make sure that our process is set to true. So as long as this is visible, we run our process. And in our process, all we're doing here is we're getting our camera. So we're assuming that our camera is the parent of our blackout feature. I should really add a warning in there if someone places that wrong. If that's not the case, it just doesn't work. And we just do some code where we get the camera transform, zero out the height so that it looks straight ahead, and then we place our label slightly forward by a certain distance and make sure that we are looking, we're orientated so that it's orientated back towards the camera on the horizontal plane. That is why when I look around, my text is still facing me. I can still read it. So it's a cheap billboard thing that respects stereo, which is kind of nice. So that's new. And let's make sure that's the last little bit that's actually in the script here in our vehicle script. There should be a process here. Yeah, the process has gotten quite a bit bigger. Did I put it at the beginning or at the end? I put that at the end. So here I'm simply taking the position of the camera, the local position, because it's always positioned in relative to the XR origin 3D point. So I'm taking the distance between the camera and origin. That gives me how far away I am from the position that I want to be, and I set my blackout fade based on this little calculation here. So all I'm doing here is I'm taking the distance that I just calculated, subtract the maximum distance that I want it to be away. So I think I've got that set to something like 1 or something like that. So if it's less than that, this will be a negative number. If it's more than that, it will be a positive number. I then divide it by the distance over which I want to fade. Negative, it does whatever it does. I don't actually care. Positive, it means that it divides by that and actually makes sure that when I'm that far away, I get the maximum value. And then I just simply clamp between 0 and 1. And this means that if I'm within the maximum camera distance, this will actually be a negative value. Therefore, it will be clamped to 0. My fade is 0. I'm not fading to black. And if I'm past that camera fade distance, it reaches 1, makes the whole screen black. And yeah, can't see the real world anymore, which is exactly what I want. All right. Next little bits that I have here is my left hand and my right hand. Again, right now, just they're actually small scenes. So the left hand and right hand has the same bit of logic. It's an XR controller node. Yeah, that should be an XR controller node. I don't think there's any XR controller 3D properties here. So it doesn't actually say that above here, but it is an XR controller 3D node. By default set to the left hand. Oh, and that's the other thing that's important. And why is this thing always showing when you shouldn't be showing? Come on, hide my... I hate it when it does that. Well, what I'm then going to do... I'm going to resize this. Because I've got my my taskbar set to hide, and it never hides when I want it to hide. It's really annoying me. So yeah, I've got a really simple action map here. So I don't use my default action map here. This is one of the things that I try to do with all my little sample projects, just to kind of show that this is what you should be doing. Instead of having, an action map with all possible actions, I actually have an action map of the actions that I need for my game. So I have a pose for my hand. Where am I drawing my hand? I have some haptic feedback, which we currently don't use yet. I have an accelerate input, and I have a brake input. And that's all that this game needs. That's all that I am reacting to. Now, I've got a problem with my simple controller because I don't have triggers in my simple controller. One of the big problems that OpenXR has is that the simple controller is too simple. So I can place my hands and I can do my haptic input, but I don't actually have the controls to accelerate and decelerate, which is a bit of a pain in the bum. But luckily, I can, put profiles for the other controllers. So I've only configured a touch controller and an index controller here, because those are the only controllers that I'm testing on. Pose is again just on the grip balls, that's all fine. But we can see that on the left hand trigger I brake, and on the right hand trigger I accelerate. And then again, my haptic, even though we're currently going to use the haptic. On the index controller, I'll do exactly the same. My hand pose is linked to the grip pose on both hands. And then on the left hand, my trigger is linked to my braking function. And my right hand trigger is linked to my accelerate function. And I again have my haptics even though I don't use it. And therefore my hand here is linked to the hand pose. I've got, like I said, a little box as a mesh. We're not really doing much with that. I've got a copy of that, but then with the transparent thing, so that one will get hidden once we don't need it. And then I have an animatable body 3D, which is a special static body that is allowed to be moving. And I'm only using this for a detector. So in theory, I could be using a normal static body, but some of the physics don't work properly at that moment. So I just have it as an animatable body, but I have sync to physics turned off because we are controlling it with our XR hands. If we turn that on, which is the default value, setting the position actually doesn't work. It starts to really screw up with things. And the collision is just a very simple sphere just around the hand. It's just to detect whether the hand is close enough to the steering wheel that I can snap the hands to the steering wheel and my steering wheel function works. So how does that bit work? Because that is obviously the next thing. We have our two hands being tracked. They don't really do anything. We obviously have a copy for our right hand, set to right. You'll see that the pose actually screws up. This is a bug that I still need to fix. But I've actually got that temporarily fixed in the script. So in my ready function, I am making sure that my pose is set to the hand pose. I'm not quite sure why that is not working properly. Because it's working for my left hand, but it's not working for my right hand. I think it has something to do with when you set the tracker, or you change the tracker, that the pose gets reset and it loses the default pose. Because this is still the default value, so it would have already gotten that, and now it doesn't reset the default value because I'm changing it back to default. I'm probably too late, but I'm probably going to just disable that function and hope that people will accept that as a non-breaking change. We will see, we will see. Excuse me. Now that we're looking at the script on the hand, might as well have a quick look through that. So obviously there's a to-do message here that I actually want to have proper hands instead of blocks, but I need to grab the meshes for that and make sure that that properly works. It has a access function called get hand mesh path, which returns. Let's actually open up the the thing as well. It just returns the path to that object there, and we're actually using that whenever the hand is close enough to the steering wheel. We are setting the remote transform that we've placed to this path so that it snaps this box to that place. For that, we also have a set hand match top level. If we set that to true, which we do when we snap, we are obviously setting that on that mesh. If it's true, we actually go here where we then also show our ghost mesh. So now our block has got top level to true, so that it no longer stays linked to the controller. It gets its own position. The remote transform is now giving its position. That's going to happen in a different script, and therefore it's shown in place. And our ghost mesh is now visible, and that is actually still showing where our hand is. So that's the trick that we're doing here. When we move our hand out of range, we set our top level back to false. We also unset the remote transform so that the remote transform doesn't do anything anymore. We therefore have to reset our transform on our mesh. We're assuming that we've already removed the remote transform logic here, which snaps it back to the hand. and we hide our ghost mesh so that we no longer see that. So this is the bit of logic that makes sure that our hand snaps to our steering wheel and let's go again. It's also important that we disable our collision shape and make this whole thing invisible when we start. And then in our process, every frame, we just check whether we have tracking data. We make the hand visible and we make the collision work only when the hand is actually being tracked. So if the controller is off, like these have now been shut off because we haven't been using them, no hand is shown and we're not tracking, and we turn the collision shape off so they aren't being detected by our snap logic as well. So the other side of this, if we go back to our little go-kart, is that hand detector. Oh, that's the other thing that I almost forgot to mention. If we look at that body, it's in layer 2. I've given it a separate layer just for the hands. I've actually named these layers. I've got my default world layer. So my track is in that layer. My go-kart is in that layer. But my hands have a separate layer here. And that allows me to make sure that my hand detector is also set to that same layer. So our hand detector is only going to detect things in the hand layer. And those are only going to be my 2 hands. So that's how that works. When my, it's just a simple box shape, by the way, which is quite large. So if my hands are anywhere within this box, they will snap to the steering wheel. When they move outside of that box, they stop being snapped to the steering wheel. That means that as I'm sitting in my chair here, I don't have to put my hands very far forward in order to work. I don't really want the user to completely have to grab it on the steering wheel, especially because I'm assuming that most people will be playing this sitting down behind their desk. And we don't want to have our users, put their fists through their monitors. We don't really care that the hands are, not that close to the steering wheel. We just care that they can manipulate the steering. So yeah, the rest here is handled with signals. So we have a body enter signal and a body entered signal. And all that happens on these two is when the body entered, we check if that is actually one of our hands. It should be. Those are the only objects we have here. If so, we set our hand mesh top level to true. So that's the logic that we looked at before, where it now no longer has top level set, and it will show our ghost hand. And then simply, depending on whether we're dealing with the left hand or the right hand, which you can check on our tracker, we are going to set either left hand anchor, which is that guy over there, or our right hand anchor, that one over there. We're going to set their remote path to the path of that mesh. And that is going to make sure that our box, our hand, is shown at those anchor places. We also set a variable that tells us whether we're steering with our left hand or with our right hand. They are 2 separate booleans. So if we have both hands on the wheel, we have both of these true. And we'll see in a minute that that is how we can steer with one hand or with both hands. It's kind of cool. Then our body exited is the reverse of that. If it's left hand, we unset the remote path and we set our variable back to false. The same with the right hand. And here we unset the top level last. We have to reset the remote path first so that we can reposition our object. And then we set the top level to false and do the last little bit of logic. The final thing that we do is we have a helper variable, which is true if one of these is true. So as long as none of the hands are on the steering wheel, UseXR input is off, which means that our input is going through keyboard or through gamepad. If one of our controllers is on the steering wheel, we switch over to XR input. Then the last little bit of this is then the steering logic itself, and then we're really done explaining everything that I've done outside of the stream. We handle that in our processor here. We obviously need our steering input, but we don't know where it's coming from. So if we are using XR input, we do the XR logic, else the logic that we had before, which is just using our input map and then assigning that to steering. So the logic that I'm doing here. Hi George, how you going? This is actually a very simple trick where we are calculating a direction vector on the steering wheel to see the vector from our left hand to our right hand, but we want that in the local space of the steering wheel. Now, this steering wheel orientation is a little bit weird. It's actually kind of upside down and angled, and that's just because our mesh is set up in that way. But that's just a little bit of adjustment. So if we have our right hand, we're starting with that, then we're going to calculate our position in the local space of our steering wheel, which we do by multiplying the inverse transform of our steering wheel with the position of our right hand. We are using the track position, not the little box, of course, the actual XR controller position. And that gives us a position in the local space of the steering wheel. So if you look at our steering wheel, basically what that means is that if we would flatten this, actually, it's probably better to say if I'm looking straight down on the steering wheel, I now have a position somewhere in this flat area where our controller is, with the Z just saying how far up I am in relation to the steering wheel. I don't care about the Z. I only care about the X and Y position, because that gives me a direction right now from the center of from the center of the steering wheel to where my hand is. So if I'm just steering with my right hand, I don't have my left hand, I'm only using that. I have that as a vector, and I can use that to calculate an angle of how far I have moved my hand around the steering wheel and how far I'm steering. The left hand is the same trick. Again, taking it in local space. This is now the hand on the left side. So here I simply take the direction that I have currently and I subtract it. If I have both hands, I'm now having a vector from my left hand pointing to my right hand. If I only have my left hand, I have a vector pointing from my left hand to the center of the steering wheel. So whether I'm holding the steering wheel with both hands or only with one hand, I have now a vector that I can accurately use to do my steering with. I then normalize that direction because I do not care about the length. Kind of important here because unfortunately the mesh that we're using also applies a rather nasty scaling, which does make things a little bit weird. And then I calculate an angle. And again, because the thing is actually upside down and slightly weirdly oriented, instead of the vector that I would be expecting, which would be 1, 0, I actually need a vector 0, -1. Again, it's all, the local space is all a bit messed up. But that gives me the angle of steering. There's a little bit of extra code here because the way that the angle is calculated, I can actually be in the wrong quadrant. So I'm either adding 360 degrees or subtracting 360 degrees to stay within the -180 degrees to +180 degree rotation. And the last little check that I'm doing here is if I turn the wheel all the way around and I move a little bit more, then I actually flip the wheel all the way the other way around, because I cannot do more than 180 degrees one way and 180 degrees the other way, but my controllers end up in the same spot. So I'm checking if because I'm assuming that obviously I'm rotating, that if in my last frame, I was almost at 180 degrees, that if I go over 180 degrees, I don't do that flip, I stay at 180 degrees. And that means that I cannot steer wrong, and I'm staying within that 180 to 180 degree steering, which is what you expect on a go-kart. Go-kart's a very simple steering. This does mean that if you want to do a racing game where someone should be able to keep turning the wheel, you need to do some more funky stuff to do that. This is a simplified version. In the end, whether I am using my input through keyboard or input through gamepad, which uses our input system in Godot, and assign the steering input that way, or whether I do my really funky little bit of math to come up with the same steering input based on the positions of the controllers, I end up with an angle that I can use as the steering input for my vehicle body 3D. And there we go. And of course, I also assign the rotation to the steering wheel so that we can actually see the steering wheel at the correct rotation. Acceleration is a similar thing. So before we just had getting the acceleration directly from the input map, and here I've simply said that well, we've got a little bit of extra logic that that checks things, including was my input 0 the last frame and now it's bigger than 0. I just pressed the accelerator or I just pressed the brake. That thing is for some reason not completely working the way that I expect, so that's probably something that I'm doing wrong. The other trick that I'm doing here is I don't know whether my accelerator is linked to my left hand or my right hand, so I'm just taking them both. If it's linked to my right hand, which right now is what's in the action map, then the left hand just returns 0, the right hand returns whatever my trigger on my right hand is. Put those together, and I've got that. OpenXR actually has a feature to let OpenXR take care of that and just return whatever accelerator is linked to, just return the value. It doesn't care what controller it's on. However, that is something that I still need to expose in Godot. Godot is very controller oriented. So this is a little bit of trick to work around that. Again, in our XR action map, it would never be linked the other way. However, once rebinding becomes possible, which is something that they're working on the XR runtime side, so that you can actually do the rebinding in SteamVR, or you can do the rebinding on your Quest, then the user might decide to swap the acceleration brake, or they might want to, I don't know, if you have multiple inputs, do, I don't know, the acceleration with trigger and your brake becomes, I don't know, pressure sensor on the top or something like that. Who knows, whatever is possible in controllers. That should then work because we no longer care where those are coming from. So that is why we do that little trick there. And then the rest of the logic is still the same. So we apply an auto brake force just in case we're almost standing still, just to make sure that we do that. And in there we also apply our just press brake logic to switch between braking and reversing. And then obviously we apply those forces correctly accordingly. We already talked about the blackout screen, and obviously in the last stream we set up the whole UI to make sure that we have information there, which we actually need to do some cooler things with. But for now, that is fine and does what we wanted to do. I need to get something more to drink because my throat is starting to get all dry. So yeah, sorry that was a really long talk just to get through all the stuff that I've done off stream. I'm sorry that I did not take the time to do that on stream, but it was a little bit of a weird time. Plus, there was a lot of stuff here that I just wanted to figure out. And just implement and just also get this finished so that it's now on the Godot demo projects, and we can actually start doing the next little bit that we're likely not going to be adding to the full project. So, hey Dapper, how you going, dude? I hope you are surviving this Sydney heat better than I am. Although today was pretty decent. Yeah, man, I miss you. I hope all is well, and you're getting used to your new house. And like I said, you should try out Hell Divers 2, and we should do some games together. Although it is a bit of a pricey little game. Why doesn't it show me the mic gain up a bit? Oh, my mic too soft again. Can I add that more here? I'm not sure if I can over. No, that's all that. You guys can see my OBS for a second. Yay! I don't think I can overdo it here. Maybe you can do it on here. I don't know. I might be able to say output volume, input level, that's fine. Input gain. Oh, I can put my input gain up a bit more here. Let's see how far that goes. Is that better? Did that work? Yeah, no, I know what you're saying, Dapper. I remember when a long time ago I wasn't renting and I actually had a house back in Holland and I had just bought it. And all of a sudden you realize how much a mortgage is and you go like, holy crap. Um, then again, right now I have the same with renting. Oh, cool. I didn't actually know that gain was there. That is pretty damn sweet. Or that the gain was so low. Bloody hell. So yeah, how is this liking it? Yeah, it's not really going into red, so it looks like it's okay enough. All right. So next step is with the project list. Da-da-da, da-da-da. Oh, actually, yeah, Dapper, if you're really being careful with budgeting on Helldivers, and you're also not going to get a VR headset anytime soon. I need to get you playing some XR games together with me. Okay, anyway, let's go and copy this thing, and we're going to go to my games folder, and I'm going to put it over there. And I am going to call this Go Godot Karts. Whatever. Needs to have a name. And actually, I want VR in that name. Come on. The off. I'm gonna take that out. I'm gonna take that out. And the rest, as far as I care, stay the way that it is. Now we're gonna go import that. Project. Go cards, whatever. I'm definitely taking suggestions for names. Yeah, no VR headset on the horizon, eh? Wife bigger than dog, bigger than work. Yeah, how is Harley doing? I miss seeing Harley pics. But then you're gonna go stream again, Dapper. You need to go back to your streaming, dude. Okay. So we're now in here, but now one of the things that I want to do is obviously rename this. Go Godot Karts VR. Boom, just so that it has a proper name and I can tell them apart. Very good. I'm just going to keep this the way it is. I'm going to keep using the compatibility renderer for this from now so that I can use foveated rendering. Just so that everybody knows, I am using. Come on. I am using 4.21 stable here. I'm not switching over to 4.3 for this. I still don't know where these guys are coming from either, but it must be a 4.2 bug. Okay, good to hear that Harley is doing well. But it's hard to justify lately. And if I stream and play, really, did you get hate for playing Overwatch? I wasn't aware of that. That's uncool. You were an Apex streamer for a long time, so is that because you just had too many people who were used to you playing Apex, or what? Because I'd say let them complain all they want. You need to play what you love playing, and I always love playing Overwatch with you. So, although I'm also enjoying the new Apex season, it's a lot of fun. Okay, so I think we're gonna keep with our. Oh, okay. It's more that, yeah. Well, I did notice that your viewership was down a lot compared to your Apex days. But I think it's also very logical. I think Overwatch is a very streamer unfriendly game because you're constantly busy playing. You don't have any time to engage with your chat. So, about being disconnected again. Let's see what it does. Okay, it says it's reconnected again. I hope that didn't miss out too much. My connection might actually be because my son is playing Helldivers. Yeah, start. How dare you? What was I saying? Oh yeah, Apex. You You have long periods where you're running around trying to find a team to fight, and if you're unlucky, you run into the champion team, and it's a 3-stack pro team, and you're dead, and that just makes it no fun. But in the time that you're running around and don't have a fight, you can at least engage with your chat, which is kind of cool. I need to try that Balatro thing then. Sun Fighting for Democracy. Exactly, Big MacBook. It is, yeah. I think it's a great game. And, I don't care that they blatantly ripped off Starship Troopers, because there should have been a Starship Troopers game years and years and years ago. It's just good fun. Hey, Wilhelmer, how are you going? Good morning. Yeah, that we're an hour different. There's parts of the world that already are in summertime. Here in Australia, we're going to go wintertime in, correct me if I'm wrong, Dapper, 2 weeks, I think. So yeah, it's going to be another hour shift, which is going to be fun. Okay. I'm trying to think, because I also don't want to make it too late tonight, so I'm not quite sure how far we'll get. I need to make a game plan, because like I said before, the idea was to create, or to turn this game into a very, very simple multiplayer karting game, but I don't think we're going to go all down the lobby side of life. It's probably just going to be a peer-to-peer sort of setup. I'm probably going to stick with the standard multiplayer stuff that Godot has, which means that we're going to have to get the player into some sort of startup screen. Daylight savings. We're going to have daylight savings again soon. Did I just scare you that you completely forgot about daylight savings? And what is it going to be an hour back? Yeah, I think we're going to lose an hour. So love that one. So see, Starship Troopers for sure, but they did a good job. Never did. How do you mean that Starship Troopers never did? Because I love that movie. Mind you, I'm biased because the director was Dutch and I'm Dutch. So Starship Troopers does have that for it. You don't really sleep as it is. That's not good. Work, work, wife, wife, game, game, dog, dog. Hey, on the Apex side, you hear that Ragtag has finally gone public that he's together with what's his name, the Jelly that he always played with. That's another nice story about someone who became a successful streamer and found love in gaming. That's pretty cool. Oh yeah, no, Starship Troopers never did make a game. I don't know why that is. Well, the he did a face reveal years ago when he still had his beard. And he did stream for a while with camera. I think even that was very long ago though. And of course, he was. I don't know if you've ever seen the interview that what's his name, the guy who voices Pathfinder. Chris Edgerly. He used to do. He still streams on Twitch, I think, but he used to do interviews with fellow Apex voice actors, and he did interviews with some of the more successful streamers. And he did an interview with Ragtag at some point, and that's a must-watch if you like. Just like we are both seriously into mental health stuff. That's a really good stream to watch and to hear about Ragtag's history and his journey. Yeah, very cool. Can very much recommend looking that up. I'm pretty sure that it's still on. It's still on YouTube somewhere. Whoa, is Minecraft troubled these days? I've hardly followed Minecraft, so. Well, I'm not sure if it's because of the popularity of the game. I think it's more what can you do with the game and yeah, what sort of people hang around and also, what is the sort of content you do? And unfortunately, negative content does attract a lot of people. It's really weird. I don't get that. Okay. I think one thing that we're going to start with here is actually updating a few textures just to make it not look so where are textures? That side again. Oh yeah, ambient CG will probably work just fine. Does ambient CG have a road texture? Road. Oh, for a moment there, I thought I had one. Well, we don't really want something to stripe because it's a go-kart track. So, what is good for go-karting? Oh, those are just decals. That's fine. You're not gonna drive over cobblestones. Although it could be fun to have something like this with some weird stuff in there. Can I rotate this? No, I can't. I think that would repeat too often, wouldn't it? Well, let's just see how it looks. We're just going to stick with JPEGs. We're not going to overblow our budget. So we're going to go to Assets. We're going to create a new folder here for... am I in the right one? Yeah, I'm in the right one. ambientcg.com. I always like to create folders, if I can spell it correctly. Folders to remind me where I'm getting something from. Asphalt 19. And actually, I really just want to... Look at that, they've got USD files in there right now, which I really don't care about. I want the normal stuff. We're actually not going to use all of that. We don't care about displacements. What's the difference between... Oh, that's just a sample, so that can go. I just want the color one, mobile map, and I guess we can do roughness. So, boom. I'm just going to go into our track here. We're going to go with our road material. What am I using there? And this is just a standard material that's in here. Okay, very cool. Then we are going to seriously hack that in, but we're also going to change the this in a minute. So, 1 second, guys. I just need to check where I'm getting stuff here. Okay. Oh, no, I don't want to click there. I want to click here. So let's go start with putting in our assets, ambient, asphalt. That's the color. And we are going to do a normal map. There we go. We're going to go and load in our normal map. And then I want to go and load in my roughness map. Okay, that's what we're starting with. Now we can already see that that is changing the way that that does. And that's because we were playing around with the UVs. Okay, what's that? No, I'm going to keep that. Now that's going to look ugly. Why is it broken up like that? Because it looks like... I wish it wasn't so repeating. I'm going to figure something out about that. Let me stretch it out a little bit more. That might actually look kind of nice. Yeah, for now that's good enough. No, that's okay. You can distract me all you want, Dapper. And yes, no, on YouTube I'm actually using my real name, which is interesting. Although, of course, for gaming, I did use Mux on Twitch for a while, but I hardly do game streams at the moment. Yeah, Mux and my, I guess for YouTube I was doing more professional stuff, so I'm just using my my real name there. Okay, that looks pretty decent, but we're gonna change this. And this is something that I'm going to start doing much more regularly on stream, which is that we're going to go and we're going to start by just saving this. That's, oops. Oh, it is already. Is it already saved somewhere as a... We don't have that here. Okay, anyway, I don't really care about the material, even though I tend to save that too. But what I actually want to do is change this to a shader material. And I want to save my shader in here. And let's call this our texture normal roughness. And actually, I'm going to name that shader. Boom. And the reason I'm doing that is when we now look at our shader code, we can do over here, we're going to see that there's a lot of stuff in here that we don't actually want. So we're going to see that we have a roughness texture, but we also have a normal texture. And we actually don't want a normal texture. We don't want to use our point size. We do not care about our roughness value because we are going to just use our roughness there. We're not going to care about our albedo color. We're purely going to use our texture value. I'm not going to care about my normal. I am not going to care about my... No, my specular, I want to keep in there. That one's cool. Normal scale. Do I actually even use that? I'm going to leave that in just in case, but I believe that there the default value there is fine. We are not using our UV scale to, so we're going to take that out. Our vertex shader is cool. That's just using our UV scale 1 and offset. That's fine. But now we're going to take a look at this. So we're getting our albedo color here from our base. We're never doing anything with our base. So I'm actually going to change that just to normal UV. And I'm going to, do that a couple of times. That one probably is overkill because I think the shader compiler is more than capable of dealing with that. But we're going to remove our multiplication there. We don't need it. We're going to remove our metallic lookup. We don't need it. We're going to move that down here. We're going to deal with that in a minute. Our roughness texture channel, that just needs our red channel. So we can simply do .r. We no longer need that. That means that we no longer need the dots. We just use it directly. There we go. We're going to just use our UV there. And that means that we no longer need to call that texture because we're just getting our roughness value there and we're doing roughness there. Then our metallic is going to be our inverse of our roughness. We're going to leave our specular the way that it is. We're gonna get our normal texture from our UV, and there we go. We just have a normal scale on our depth. And at the end result of this is that our shader still does the same stuff and still looks the same, but we've removed a whole bunch of code out of here. In this case, there's not much. The extra lookup of the metallic texture is an optimization, which is kind of cool. And as you know, the rest of the changes that we did here are probably not going to make any serious difference. However, the more texture lookups we don't need to keep in here, the better it is for performance. Because even in a situation where I just have my metallic texture lookup and I don't have a metallic texture set, it's still going to do a lookup, but it's going to do a lookup on a texture object that just is white or black. And on PC, nobody cares. On mobile, that can have an impact. And it's connected again. All right, so sorry about that. I think there was a little hiccup in OBS again. Or in my network, which is probably more likely the issue here. Now, doing this trick, getting our roughness and making metallic the inverse of roughness, isn't really right, but it's good enough, as we say. So I am more than happy to do that as a solution, because yeah, they're not linked in this way, but it's close enough for what we need here, especially with a service like this, which is almost completely rough. And does fine. Now, in our main scene where we actually have shadows, we might actually get a little bit more of a sense that there is indeed quite a bit of damage on the track. Hey, it's an old go-kart track. It's fine. It's good. But yeah, this is a very repetitive little texture, but it'll do for now. Now we're busy with that. Let's also make sure that we actually don't have ugly green for grass. So let's do the same thing again. Let's see what we have for options in grass. Plenty of options. We want to do something simple. I think this is good enough. Grass 001. We just want the very first type of grass. We don't really care. It's just to, because we're never going to be close enough to see the grass. We just want to have a color. And eventually we'll do some more things with the track and set some things up nicer. But for now, this is good enough. So this has become grass 01, I believe. So in our downloads, we should have our grass 01. Let's see, we don't care about ambient occlusion. We don't care about displacements. I don't think we even care about roughness or normal in this case, because we're never going to get close enough to really see that. So in this case, I am just going to go for the color. And also while we're here, license CC 01. Yeah, it is a CC1, so we don't really need to include it, but I always like to kind of have something. But it doesn't actually have to be exactly this. So I'm just going to put a license text file here. Going to do create from assets from CGCom, blah, blah. because we have a number of them. So there we go. Thank you for coming. Okay. With that, this I think is just a floor here that I've used. Indeed. So here we do the albedo color. We actually need to return that to white for now. And then we go and say ambient grass. There we go. Get some grass there now. Do we need to adjust the scale anymore? Linked? Let's link this. That's too much. I think that'll do. Because again, like I said, we're never really going to see maybe a little bit less, because that does look very... There we go. It's getting really annoying that it keeps saying that we're disconnected and connecting and God knows what. Hey, yes, Alex. How you going? Hope you're doing well. So yeah, like I said, we are converting this to a shader material as well, and we're doing again save as. We already have a transparent textured, but we're just going to call this textured GD shader, because we do want a different shader between a OBS is really not being happy at the moment. I have no idea what's going on, because my son is no longer playing Helldivers. So I hear him getting ready for bed. All right. So here the same thing. I am going to go and rip out everything that we do not need. Where? Okay, hold on for a second. I need to get that back in. Yeah, reference can just be one. Then it can be 0. So that we can remove that one. We can remove those. Specular. Specular actually I want to keep in there. Maybe I should just keep this, yeah. Actually, let's just say roughness. This can't do any harm. Having these as variables. There we go. And then I'm just gonna move that over here. Make that, and remove those two. Hey, Xbox, how you going? Oh, sorry to hear, SSLX. It's never nice to go to a funeral, and it's definitely never nice to get food poisoning. So I hope you get better soon. Okay, I'm gonna take that out. Take that one out. That one out. That one out. We're gonna keep those. We're gonna keep those two, and there we go. Now our shader is nice and simple. Alrighty, cool. So, okay. Let's give that a try and see how that looks in game. Turn these guys back on. Whoa. Whoop, whoop, whoop. There we go. Alright. Yeah, that looks kind of nicer. That looks a little bit more like we're actually on a racetrack. So, oh, okay, that's probably the problem that I was having is I'm sitting in a really awkward spot here where my lighthouses can't really track me that well. Oh, and there we go with the steering wheel going the wrong way. Oh, it can go backwards. This was the one-handed steering that I was talking about. Here, now I've got both again. All right. Vroom, 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 vroom. This looks so much nicer with proper textures on it. Oh, we still need a texture for our side of our road beam, so that's fine if we can find some nice metal for that. And then we need to find some real tires. Find a proper tire stack. Okay. Oh yeah, that's something more. Let's do that. Okie dokie. Cool. I'm glad that I finally got lenses for my index, but it is annoying to keep having to take my glasses off. Actually pretty good SSLX, other than me always complaining about the heat in Australia. For some reason, the summer is particularly hot and long this year, and I've kind of had enough of summer. So yeah, bring on the cooler temperatures as far as I'm concerned. But other than that, it is actually going pretty well. Yeah, and well, this hopefully we'll get the multiplayer part of this working soon. I'm not quite sure if we're gonna get started on that tonight, because I first just want to sort of polish this up and give it a nicer look for what we're doing. But yeah, I still need to think about, okay, what are we going to do for an interface with this? Okay. A parkour game for in VR is really, really cool. There was someone who was working on a parkour type game. And especially with all the stuff that we have in extra tools like the grapple and the being able to grab things, you can actually do some really cool stuff with it. But do keep in mind that those type of games tend to suffer a lot from making people motion sick, so you tend to limit your audience. But and yeah, contacts is the other option. I used to wear contacts for a little while, but I could never really get used to them, and I went back to wearing glasses. But I really like the lenses that I've got. There's insert lenses in my index, and for longer gaming sessions, they are perfect. But for sessions like this, where you're constantly putting the headset on and off, it's actually annoying. And I've got a few times when I'm developing that I'm just sort of going, you know what? I'm going to keep my glasses on, just put it on and accept that everything's fuzzy for a minute, because I'm not going to keep my headset on long enough to care. But yeah. Okay, so let's do the metallic bar first. And for that, we can still go here. Oh, that's really where we want to be. Oh, it opened into a new thing. Okay, so steel, maybe. That's the sort of thing that we want. Kind of like this. Yeah, that would work well. I might need to flip it, but yes, I like this. I'm going to copy that because I'm never going to spell that correctly. And then let's do it like this, this. I like to keep my folder names lowercase. All right, so for this, we only care about color. We are going to do metalness and roughness. Why not? But in this case, I'm, again, not going to do the normal map, because normal maps are kind of expensive, and we're never going to get close enough to this. Or maybe we do, because I suddenly realized that. Yeah, they've got the shape in here. Okay, so we definitely need to use the normal map. That's okay. And here you can see a good example that we have a roughness and a metallic, which are not linked to each other. Yeah, let's go overboard with this one. Why not? So for that, we now go into track. We're going to go for our left barrier. Okay. And this case, let's see, where is the material on this? Oh, there's no material set here yet. So we're going to start with a new shader material. Okay. And we're going to say our color is that one. Okay, now we have a metallic map. Now, one of the things that would be really cool that we could do here let's load them for now, because normally you would combine those into a single texture. So the barrier full. Yeah, don't hit the barrier full on. That's not a good idea. Okay. That's the roughness. And then we're going to go for a normal map. Okay, now we see that indeed we have that wrongly oriented. But that's actually something that we're going to fix in the in our shader code instead of in here. So convert to shader and save this. This is going to be textured normal roughness metallic. So GD shader. There we go. Okay. We don't need you guys. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to flip this around. And let's flip that one. Oh, okay. No, hold on. That's not right. No, I need to flip this U around. There we go. Okay. Okay. And now we can still go and play around with the scale. That's too much. Okay, I think that's pretty decent. Yeah, now it kind of looks all right enough, I think. Looks a little bit weird because it doesn't actually have that shape. It'll do, and we don't really have the sun set up properly. Might actually look better on the track. Yeah, now it works better because now we got the shadows in there, and that's much better look. Okay, cool. So, let's do the same thing again. We're going to take all those out, which means that we can now do this, this. And yeah, this is something that I wish was easier to do. Oh, wait a minute. What am I? Oh, I deleted. Oh yeah, didn't delete enough. Yeah, here I really wish that we could combine. Oh, because we got that. Or we could combine the roughness and metallic into a single 2-layer texture, but I'm not I'm not bothered enough to open up Krita and start mucking about with that. I know it should be pretty easy to do. And so let's see how quickly we can set it up. Save Krita. Hello, Krita. Come on, load it up. And we're gonna go open. Jesus, why are you showing all stuff that? Oh, some downloads. Okay. Projects, games, GoKart, assets, ambient, corrugated steel. So let's do roughness in red. And we're doing metal in the other one. Okay. So let's do just a save as, just that we have the name different already. Rough metal. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So we don't need to do that. So what we need to do now is copy. Is that going to paste into a new layer? Yes, it is. Perfect. Okay. So here is where was it again? We have the ability. The colorize mask. You can see that I don't use Krita very often, so I'm always just on that. I'm always trying to figure out. No. No. Not what I wanted. Okay. That's not the one. How do I select that I only actually first of all in properties? Where is that? There. Convert. Transform. I just want to tell it to only do one color. I just want the red in here. Don't want the alpha to be split. No, I don't want that. Don't want that. Anybody here good at properties? Maybe. No, I already had that. Gray. Oh, the whole thing is in grayscale. Okay, I need to check if I can change that first. Image. Convert to color space. There we go. We want to change that to RGB alpha. Okay. Boom. All right. Yay. So we want this one to be red. This is let's actually just call that reference for now, even though that's going to be gone once we do that. So if I remove this, we have now our roughness in red. That's going to become our metallic, and we want that in green, and we want that addition. So here's green, and now we have both together, which is exactly what I wanted. Save. JPEG image, that's fine. We don't care. What we care about right now is that we need to go back to our track. We need to go here. So we're going to shader parameters. And now for our roughness, what we're going to say is load. And we're going to get our combined one. Boom. Okay. So we don't care about you. We're going to make you a vec4, and we're just going to get that from our roughness texture. And I don't care that that's the wrong name. And we're just going to take the red channel. And for metallic, we're going to take our roughness channel, and we're going to take our green channel. Cool. And now we can remove these two. No, I just removed too much. Sorry. These two. That guy. That guy. I'm going to keep those guys. We're going to keep that guy. Okay, and of course, okay, cool. Right. So now we have suddenly one texture that combines roughness and metallic. So we got to remove our hint here. There we go. I should really rename that to roughness metallic, which is going to mean that we have to reset our variable name. Or sorry, we need to reload our texture. There we go. Perfect. All right. And again, this is just to minimize the number of texture reads that we do. We want to have as few texture reads as possible. So that we should be fine. All right. So I'm going to save that. We're going to go to our main, and we can see that that is all still very much working. Okay. All right. Now that we have that as a shader that we can reuse, which is why we saved it in shaders, I also want to save our material, but in this case, we can go. No, it's not in our objects. Is it in our objects? Hold on, wait a second. Where is our track? Is our our track is here. Okay. All right, let's go and create a new folder called tracks. Okay. And then we create a new folder called test track. And we're gonna now close everything so that. Oh yeah, this one doesn't have close file. We need to do this one by one. We don't really have good menu options here. Unlike in other places, we do. All right, so with that done, let's make that bigger. And we're going to grab our track. Okay. And we're going to go and move that to. I'm actually going to put that there. Yeah. Okay. This is what I'm doing. Inherited scene track. Cool. Scene. And save as test track. Okay, and I'm just doing that way. Even though they're exactly the same right now, there's nothing special in here. But that way we can make multiple tracks by just changing the curve that we have in this one. So right now we have the same curve in both, but here we're gonna say make unique, and that means that actually we can. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Top view. Actually, let's keep that where it is, but yeah, I can move this a bit around. So I'll make you a little bit less crazy. Oh, it's not too happy about that. Yeah, we can make a completely different track out of this one. Kind of means that maybe for this one, for our default track, let's go and remove a couple of those. There. We have a really crooked oval. But I just wanted to make sure that we have that idea that we can do multiple ones. And they're obviously going to change that track and then dress it up further. And I'm actually even wondering, should I put the floor in our test track? I think that's probably a good idea. So if we now go to our main scene, we're actually going to go and remove. No, we didn't. So we're going to remove you. We're going to then say that's going to be our test track for now. There we go. Oh, that's really bad. We need to fix that up. Top view track. Oh, that. I really wish that it was better in. I want to take this guy out. You can see that it doesn't always update everything properly. It's kind of interesting. Take that guy out. Always use the wrong buttons here. Do it like that. Okay. So I don't know why that one doesn't update properly, because it should. That could have everything to do with the fact that I've got that open twice, but it has updated the track just fine. And again, it's just to have a track to test with. But this way we can start making multiple tracks with the, with a same spline as a base. Okay. So with that all done, we probably will do more things like that. Now I want to go and save this material as my barrier dot material. And I actually do not want to do that, because now I can easily load that in. And now we have both our barriers proper. So in our main scene, we should also see that we have there, but oh, that's just very dark. I was wondering, like, where did my that doesn't look like it has the right color. So that is probably because I left this open. So one of these, just reopen this. One of these did not update. Yeah, now we have barrier at both sides. Okay. Cool. Now we need to figure out where we're going to get some tires from. Well, you worked, so I don't need you anymore. Which also means that oh yeah, of course. So we no longer need these guys. We don't need you. No, we need you. Oh, wait. Oh, we don't need you anymore. Hello, don't do this to me. Tick, tick, right click, delete. There. Yeah, because that is our nice multicolored one. We're not using the other ones anymore. Very cool. Oh yeah, that is looking good. Perfect. Okay. Alrighty. Let me guess. I'm no longer logged into OpenGameArt. No, I'm not. Has it remembered my? No, it hasn't remembered my username or password. 3D art. Then it's just the go-kart itself. I need stuff for the track. Actually, you know who might have this? Kenny. Kenny might have some things for one of his assets. 3D. Hey, you got a skate ring now. How cool is that? No, we're not going to build a graveyard. No. Just roads, that's not what I'm looking for. Well, the racing kit might be nice, so let's open that one up in a separate tab. Okay. What do we have here? I wish that opened up bigger. Now we're not going to use his thingies like that. But we can use all of these sort of things. They are kind of cool. And we could use some of this to draw it all up. So yes, Kenny, I am going to download your pack. Continue without donating. I already donate to Mr. Kenny. Because I love what he does. So, new folder, kenny.nl. Downloads, Kenny Racing Kits. I want the license in here. Oh, I downloaded that before. Okay. Models, and we're actually going to grab the OBG files for that. There we go. But this one comes with textures. How cool is that? So we got checkers, Tenko, okay, nets. That's going to work fine. Well, let's see how well we can use that. Yeah, the other things I don't care about. Re-importing stuff. Now, I don't know if there were any tires in there. And the other thing, which is a bit of a shame, is that it doesn't actually show us okay, well, I can actually see that in here, I think. Okay. Yay, we get to see them. How cool is that? So these are all the objects. So do we have something? Let's go tires. You never know. Old stuff. Else we have to keep on searching for tires. Nope, there's no tires. There's lots of other stuff. So obviously we can start using that for fun things. Okay. But yeah, doesn't have tires in there. That's a shame. Okay, do we have anything else that might have a tire in there? Anything that has a tire we can use. No, I don't think so. Who else might have a free tire model? Well, actually, let's have a look at Sketchfab. Yeah, that's fine. I'll accept those. Okay. Am I logged in as me? Yeah, I'm not logged in as myself. Cool. Hire. Oh, yes. Okay. So we need something that's downloadable. And I actually just want CC0. I just need a small stack, not a big stack. Definitely not tire. So that's a 3D scan. No, I would just 3D scan a tire. That's just so wasteful. Pretty. Okay, let's see if we can just search for a tire stack. Well, we got that really big. Oh, look at that. That is exactly what I need. But that costs 15 bucks. Am I not? Okay, what about this? Oh, there is one wheel that is completely free. Well, CC buy is, I guess, all right. Low quality tires. That actually works pretty well too. Okay. You know, we really just need one tire. um, hmm. How hard is it to just get a simple free tire? I guess it's called pile of tires. I'm actually kind of happy with CC attribution. We obviously eventually I haven't got that in there yet, but we need a credit scene in our thing. Okay, what about a single tire here? $114K triangles for a freaking tire. Can I inspector settings? Wireframe. Holy crap, that's not getting ready. Why would you do that for a tire? Come on. You know, you can just do that with textures. Free car tires. That sounds good. See, that's a little bit more. Oh, right, come on. See, that's how a game tire should look. But is that going to be in the model like that? That's the problem. Because I still think this is way too much triangles and vertexes. This is kind of like what we need. So CC attribution, okay. Well, that's also again way too high detail. All I really need is a really good texture for this. Hey, Rodzilla, are you still around? This is really something that I should be doing in Material Maker. And just grab, grab a torus instead of what I have here. Actually, before I continue, I want to go. I actually think that I want to do this differently too. Actually. Okay. Sorry guys, I'm gonna do this differently than that I'm doing it right now. So I'm gonna actually remove my track from here. We're gonna put that back in a sec. Because I want to get rid of this file, delete, remove. I'm going to go and rename. Actually, let's close you too. Rename this track. Let's call it procedural track. Let's rename this guy. And then we're going to create a new 3D scene here, which is called base track, which is going to have a think. That is going to have a static body. It's going to be called floor. Actually, for this, actually go and save that. That's going to be called base track. Perfect. So lovely is this. I'm actually going to go and save as tracks, and this is going to be grass dot material. Okay, which means that I can do a mesh instance here. This was just a plain 1000 by 1000. Let's go to plain mesh 1000 by 1000. Let's subdivide that a little bit. It's not really needed, but I like doing that. And with that, we can go and put our grass material in. Perfect. Save correctly. That has 1. Perfect. That then also needs to have a collision shape. And we're going to make that a world boundary, which is just going to be a nice flat shape. Perfect. And now in here, we're going to add our base track now. That means that I must have moved one of these down. Yes, I did. So I'm going to do the same here. Perfect. Did I do anything with the collision shape here? No, I'll have that the way that it is, which means I can now go and remove you. Perfect. Base track. Perfect. Sweet. Okay. All right, which now means that I'm now going to do new inheritance stream of base track. And that one I'm going to save here. Called test track. which means that we've got to go to top view, track, make unique, so that we can change this all the way we want. I want that to be more here, which means we can have that one. Or like that. Don't know why that is moving so difficult. But I want to have that one more like that. I want you here. You're gonna go like that. Oh, can I not do that? Oh shit. Oh. Why is this not? Yeah, shift drag for control points. Why are you not doing that? I'm gonna shift drag you. Oh, deleted that. That wasn't one of my idea. Actually, why can I not? Okay. No, that doesn't even. How can I not have this? You dumb thing. Okay. I wish there was a better way to close the track there. But, well, gonna move this more. That's. Now I want to go again. Put that there. Put it there, and now why can I not get my thing? Yes, it does actually, but it's it's really annoying to control. So I can do something like this and then move it up. And well, obviously the control points are wrong, but having good control over this is nearly impossible, which is really annoying. Okay. So why can I not? It says it, right? Control Alt Shift and drag, which is exactly what I'm doing. But it won't let me. For some reason it's trying to do tilt. Options, yeah. Don't care about you, don't care about you. Yeah, we could do something like a bridge or something like that. It's just really annoying to get right. Okay, so you know I've got this guy working just fine, and then this one I can move it, but I cannot do that. It's really annoying me. Okay, bass track is. Why is that now all of a sudden also on the bass track? Because I made it unique. That's probably why it wasn't working properly. So let's open up the bass track. And the bass track is back to where it was. Very cool. Okay. And now if I go to test track. Okay, so that has a separate curve. It's now nicely working internally, but I cannot, for the life of me, set this anymore. Why not? It's got something to do with that being in the way. No. This is very frustrating. Okay, what if I do mirror, mirror? Allow me to set something now. That's still not allowing me to change the control points. And delete it. That's happy with that. But it's not allowing me to change the control points. And I have a feeling it might. I can't do that. It might have something to do with the floor. Okay, so. And this is fun that it actually screws that one up as well until I reopen it. Bass track, and you're happy. So that almost seems to have to do. The But these are all nodes. They're not resources. So they should be unique. So I don't know why those are shared. Hold on. Grab my base track. So one thing that I want to change. Excuse me. So I want to make this the first one because I've got an idea. I've got a feeling that my click is getting the collision shape of the floor is getting in the way. So now with that one, actually I'm going to go close that then. Okay. Let's move. I can still not. If I do this. I'll get this. Whoa, what did I do? Oh, bottom view. Why can I not manipulate this thing? I've always been able to manipulate this thing. And now all of a sudden it says, no, I'm not going to do it. Okay. What if I just do this? It has to be some sort of like I'm with it. Isn't it fun when things don't work anymore that have worked for all this time? Is this a bug in 4.2.1? I don't know. I get it. Okay, let me try something else. Close you. Track. Top view. What if I do it in my original? Actually, that's kind of interesting. If I go to base track. No, sec. Okay. Let's go and open up prep tech. Top view. Zoom out. Track. Let's go make this one a little bit nicer. Can I actually snap that? Okay. It's actually pretty cool that it works. I can snap. Nice. Okay. Oh, that's way better. Okay. Oh, that's cool. I should have done snap way earlier on. Okay, because that means that we can now go. Okay, hang on. I want this to be there. Then we go. Are we nicely in the middle here? I think so. Let's actually put that on a line exactly. Which means that I want to put this on that same line, and this guy on that same line, and this guy on that same line. Okay, but you go. I really wish I had more vertical space, but I cannot get rid of this stupid dock. I need more vertical space. I have enough. Try bottom view. Yeah, that might work. We'll try that in a minute, but I just want to set this one up a little bit nicer. So I'm now going to go to 1, 2, 3 there, and 1, 2, 3. So I want to get them exactly on 2, 3 to 3. Okay. Do this. Do this. And that one nicely like that. Yep. And this one in the middle, and then 1, 2, 3. Okay. That's a much more decent default oval. You need to be a little bit more longer. There we go. You. More to go. Okay, let's make that the default. Okay. Now I want to see in this one, if I add a new one, can I? No. Can I? No. If you ask me, something's broken in this build of Godot. Because I was originally, when I built this, I was actually working on 4.1. Wasn't 4.2.2 gonna come out? Godot engine download. No, we're still on 4.2.1. And I don't really want to use 4.3, but maybe I should, seeing that I'm no longer stuck on. Yeah, this is no longer for the demo. So you know what? We are going to go and close this, and we are going to go here and here. Let's go to 4.3-4. Yeah, just do it. That's fine. Oh, yeah, I should have still tried the bottom view. Let's first see if this actually now fixes it. And I can't really go, well, I can probably still go back. Where are my... What? That's from that one. Yeah. Why is this going into such a weird position? This is even more broken than... Oh my god. What the... I'm gonna have to report that one because I think this is really, really broken at the moment. Okay, don't save. Can I still go back to this? Probably can, because I don't think we've... Yeah, that's fine. Because I don't think we've really changed anything stellar. Because that's back to the way that it's supposed to be. All right, so let's see. Grab one more. Can we manipulate it? No, we can't. Can we manipulate it from the bottom? Yes, we can. What a great suggestion. We can do it from the bottom. Okay. Great suggestion is yeah. Oh man, that's gonna get us out of trouble. Okay, so we've got that one working fine. So in our base track, that now has our nice oval shape, perfect. And then our test track, I'm actually going to go and reset that. Oh, lovely that it doesn't reload right away. Save and close. So sometimes our oh yeah, we did this, of course. Okay, put that back where it was. So yeah, let's try and fix this up properly now. So make unique so that we can edit it. Put in this plus. So from this side we can do nothing. If we go bottom view, is this a new point? This was a new point. Yay, we can do it. Move that over here. Cool. I want to see this now. All right, stop view. And once it's out there, I can actually manipulate them. So yeah, funky that one. I actually want to make this a little bit bigger. That one there. That one there. We have a bit of a nicer zigzag here. Let's move this a little bit more out. A little bit more like this. Nice long and straight there. There we go. Ha! A B. Haha. Cool. Okay, cool. We now have you in there. All right. Now for our main, we're just going to, again, just put our test track in, but eventually, obviously, we're going to load different things there. We need to move our car a little bit more over here. Coolio. Perfect. Yeah, no, we definitely, I definitely need to remember tomorrow or something to log a an issue on the issue list for that one. So now we still don't have a tire. I think I'm not going to waste any time on the tires tonight. What I do want to do. Torrance is going to be maybe a cylinder with a hole. I'm going to either have to render something or model something in Blender or do some more searching. But it should be possible to just get a very cheap tire in there at some point. I'm not going to waste time on that right now. What I do want to do is now that we have our Kenny stuff, let's do rename this to test track. Let's go have a little bit of fun with Kenny stuff and put some things in here. What are I going to want? You want a tent? No, not right now. I do want to have like the start and finish thing. That's just a road thing. Hat track with the outline of the Godot logo. Yeah, that would be cool. Can definitely do some fun things like that. So these are the race cars, but we're not actually using the race cars for this. It's a ramp. Nope, we're not going to use ramp either. Okay, this sort of stuff. Pits, I guess, are more. Oh, this looks big for some reason. This is just having trouble loading it. Just having trouble loading it. I think my preview thing has crashed. Something like that. But I am trying to think of, yeah, something like this. Although I was expecting that to be checkered. Oh, look at that. We got little lights. Oh, how cool is that? That's like a tire thing. So yeah, I think that for our materials, our ooh, that's really nice. Because I'm expecting some of these to be using our checker texture. I don't know. So I'm guessing that some of those things are not working the way that they should. No, we don't want the banners. But barriers could be fun to do something with. Oops. Ooh, I like that one. No, I want something like this. Okay, so barrier red objects. Oh, barrier wall. Okay. Instance. in there. Still tiny. Still a little tiny. But we already have our railing and stuff, so I don't think we actually need that one. Let's actually start with our overhead thing. And I want our overhead with lights. Boom. Here we can really see. That is way too small. Import. Let's actually make it way bigger. Import. Yeah, that looks about right. I'll put you over here. All right. Okay. Now we're going to have some fun. We now have to find out what each material is. That's of the whole thing. Okay. I am going to assume that once upon a time had that texture. Which is way overdone. Actually, can we see that on Kenny's website? It's probably a maybe. Does he? Let's go and I should have actually put that. So no, that should actually be white. Should actually not have a texture. Okay, then we're gonna keep that white. So let's clear out. Actually, let's remove this material altogether. However, I want to check the other one. So if I do a stand-up material, that changes that. Cool. So it's all the lights. Really? No idea what that one is. That's more of that. So it's almost like there's some double overlap. Okay, how is both this service and this service affecting that? I don't get this. These are strange. It's not disabled. Cutting mode bullet back. Clear. Okay, so let's have a look here. We've got gray, road, red. Why is that double? That makes no sense. That would suggest that everything is overlapping twice. That is very strange. And I don't know what it is. Is there anything different here? Back. That is really weird. Anyway, we have a starting post. Still kind of cool. And we can obviously do something with those lights. Although I still think it's weird that that has double surfaces somehow. No, I don't get that. What else do we have that we might want to already use here? So we have some stands. Again, I just wanted to have a little bit of visual dressing on this, just so that we can see some stuff. So this is start line. So run a mesh instance. Let's see. Grandstand with awning. Yep. I guess the same thing as we scaled this probably by 10. There we go. Let's see how that looks compared to here, because yeah, that's all right. I'm not sure if I like those awnings as much though. Okay, do we want this one though? I think I like that one better. But again, the scale needs to be. I like to have the scale on the imported models instead of on the scene, but that's just me. Grand and colored 1. I don't think anybody who goes to a go-kart track is expecting to have a big grandstand thing, but hey, it just dresses it up a little bit, gives it a little bit more visual interest. Um, all right. So hits. I want to see what that looks like. Yeah, that's more racing pits, isn't it? It's not something that really fits what we're doing. Not the go-kart. Let's just have a look at what this looks like when we actually run it. But this looks crazy enough. Oh. Oh. That's not good. I thought we put it in our main truck. Yeah, there you go. Wait. Um, because for editing, I had changed that. So we were falling through the ground. Really? Is that it? Okay, let me double check if that's still good on the other, on the base track or not. Okay, let's see if we can now no longer fall through the floor. That's better. Ooh, it's very dark. Look at the shadows. Doing horrible here. Okay. So that's no fun because the sun is over there and it's casting lots of shadow on it. And I don't have my shadows actually on the very far distance. Which is going to look very ugly with also the. Yeah, that's going to be a problem. We're going to have to do. Either I'm going to have to make the shadows work bigger, but I didn't want to use cascade shadow. But indeed, the other problem that I have is that the sun's coming from the wrong. Make world environment. Let's first change that to sky. Because that was one of the things that I also changed. Because of where I am. So yeah, so now we at least have a little bit more light around. But here we can see our problem with the shadows, because I don't have very far shadow distance to keep my shadows looking nice. Yeah, do we then want to do a double split? And then okay, so this I can do because I've got a split of 0.1. That means that for that 10 meters, I get high detailed shadows, and everything after 10 meters, you can see that that is starting to really look ugly, but I have shadows up to 100 meters now. Now, I don't even think we can get that far. So I want to double check that. I'm just going to grab a node. And I want to go and move that node over here. So that's 60. And that will be minus 60. So yeah, when I'm all the way on this side of the track, it is about 100 meters that way. So I might even want to have the max distance even more. I might even want to have the max distance on 150. Still have nice shadows up close. All right, let's have a look how that looks in the game. And the sky contribution, by the way, was off because that was a bug that we had. And that's a bug that was now solved. Now, the other thing that we need to have a look at is we don't have enough bias here. I definitely want, I want better ambient light. Ambient light is way too bad. Okay. Oh. We need to make our display nicer too. Well, why is it doing that? Okay, I need to. Yeah, because the steering wheel is at such a weird angle that I actually need to be up here to have that work properly. I actually need to do that in a nicer way. Now we can also see that our shadows are really, really rough now in real-time updating. Okay, I definitely need to make our steering nicer. Although I think with two-handed steering, it does work better, but my other controller is not working very well. Hold on, let me just move back a little. Okay. And now I'm going to go into my... Oh, my battery is almost gone off my left controller. That might be it. Where's my recenter button gone? My recenter button is... Oh, here. They moved it to the left. 2, 1... Boom. Okay, cool. Now I can steer with both hands. And now the center of the steering wheel doesn't really matter. Okay, cool. Okay.
Yeah, there's definitely the shadow is making it too dark. Okay, that was weird. Why did it do that? Because it was tracking both my hands. You can see that when it's doing the tracking properly, it works perfect. And then here, suddenly, it has a moment where it suddenly decides, let's not track it anymore. And again, that could just be my setup, because I don't have my lighthouses placed ideally. So again, we just have that same thing. I'm gonna have to check that back on my own recording. Let's go the wrong way. Yay! Okay, but in shadow, we're definitely here. Did it again. That makes no sense. Is that really a tracking loss situation, or am I going crazy? Is there a bug in my code? It is fun to drive, though. For mistakes notwithstanding. Maybe I should just be playing it with the gate path, which is way easier. Okay, so I definitely don't like. Well, look at. What is that about? Why is it? Yeah, it is definitely a tracking thing. It just, you can see that it flips the moment that is out of bounds, and for some reason, maybe it's because when I'm losing tracking, I'm hiding my hand, and the moment that I hide my hand, it obviously is going nuts. Because there we can really see it. It is that my left tracking is suddenly not working, and it just shuts it down. So I'm actually pretty convinced that that is an issue purely on my end. Interesting that it does that. Okay. Hey, Saint Animatis, thank you. Yeah, we're having a lot of fun with this. Yeah, the other thing that I don't get is that it actually looks the way that I want it to look in the editor, and then in VR it doesn't. Now it is totally possible that is actually a bug that I already fixed, because there's a whole bunch of things that I've improved in 4.3. And I think that the ambient color was a part of that, and that was, I think that is why I had the sky contribution turned off, because that was a bug that we had in 4.2. So, because there was an issue in stereo rendering and the what do you call it, the sky not working properly. Now I could, of course, also just go and say, you know what, we're gonna make this work on the mobile render. Eventually, I do want to move to 4.3, because that definitely looks a lot better. Yeah, because eventually I do want to move to 4.3, but we have to fix the spline editing issue in 4.3. Unless that's just that just works differently. That's also possible, and I just need to play with it more. Why is my collision shape not? Hold on. Collision. Why have I not done this? What else needs to be on here? Let's
needs to be on here. Needs to be on here. It's a lot better. Now that we have optimization on the shapes, instead of having such a high detail in the shapes. What time is it? It's almost 12. It's almost bedtime for me. And I think let's actually run this one more time. I want to see the difference in the mobile. Actually, oh, before I do that, oh, that's interesting. My blackout of the screen doesn't work. And I'm guessing what was that? Unshaded. That's the difference between. Oh, that's a actually dangerous one. Okay. That is because the Z range in OpenGL is different than on the Vulkan. And it's actually going to change the other way around because we're going to do inverse Z in either 4.3 or 4.4, in which case this needs to be 1, but at least then it's the same regardless of where we are. That said, seeing that we're doing depth test disabled, I could probably keep it at 0 and it will still work. Yeah, okay, I'm happy to just leave that like that for now. Nope. Glasses. Okay, you know what? Where are you? Controller. I'm tired of using my XR controllers and they keep switching off anyway. So let's just put my gamepad on. Ooh, come on, get in there. There we go. Okay, so there we go. Whee. So I'm not using that little gun. Now this looks already a lot better. The color stuff on the mobile renderer is much better. Oh, that needs to change as well. It looks like it doesn't have smooth normals. I'm gonna change that. Can't wait until we actually have sound in this thing. Of course, a reverse on a go-kart is dumb. Go-karts don't do reverse, but for what we're doing, it's fine. The other thing that I actually want to do, I want to probably do an input curve for my steering wheel. But let's first see if I can make this look less flat shaded as far as the barriers are concerned. Okay. I think next week we're going to start on creating a environment where we can set up our game. Excuse me. Or do we just do it in here? I'm not sure. Or do we run the server as just on the desktop? That's also possible. Hmm. Anyway, let me first see if I can figure out if there's a setting to make the barriers smooth faces. There we go. Smooth faces. Okay. Now that might have become a little bit too smooth. Let's see. And actually, I can't do that here because my lighting isn't good enough. Oh yeah, because it has the that on there. But this is what I wanted. But this doesn't look like it's flat shaded. And that looks really good now. Cool. Very happy about that. Okay, guys, I'm getting pretty tired. Yeah, I need to decide whether I'm going to switch over to the mobile renderer, because I do think that for the time being, I'm going to make this desktop. But actually, let's try one more thing. Let's go back to compatibility, save and restart. And then before I do anything extra, I want to go to projects, games, GoKart. That should be, yep, init, status, there we go. Git add dot commits minus m commit, just so that we can undo stuff. Cool. All right. We're going to assume that the editing of the track is going to be fixed eventually. We're back on compatibility. So we do have a little bit more darker shadows, but that I can live with. The big question is if the sky is now working properly. Let's also double check, is this still set correctly? Yeah. That's all great. That's all great. I'm happy about that. Don't have to worry about that. What's the other thing that I want to check? Oh yeah, I want to go anti-aliasing, and I want to do 2x. I'm going to make it nicer as well, and that actually, well, we're not going to see that much improvement, I think, here, but that's going to make a big difference when running it on Quest. So we're completely in compatibility right now. So yeah, we'll probably have some fun issues with editing a track, although I should have a quick look at that. Top view, this one. Ah, so now I can do it like that. Okay. That's cool. Now if I do this, now I've got those to do. Okay. Still wonder if I could have, because this gets in the way of actually manipulating the points. But I can edit, which is good. So let's see if we add one here. Can I now? Because if I select that, yeah, I really can't get onto these things. If I do now bottom view, no, that doesn't work regardless. So yeah, it does look like it's made impossible to change our control points if they aren't expanded yet. Okay, that's something that I just need to report. Okay. Okay. So we're now running in compatibility. Let's go and have a look at how that looks. Well, you can see that the blacking out actually still works. Why is my tracking not working? There we go. If we do that, yeah. And I'm actually sitting slightly too far forward now. Up. There we go. Where's my controller? There. Yeah, I know. So yeah, this is compatibility in 4.3, which is actually looking a lot better. I don't know if this comes across on the screen very well, but this actually, well, first of all, we don't have everything so completely black anymore, which is really cool. Oh yeah, I need to see if we can do something about the shadows breaking up near the wheels. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's like the shadows aren't touching the wheel. So let's see if we can improve that. Nope. And if you can improve that in a way that doesn't break lots of other stuff. That is always the problem that we have with it. First of all, it doesn't seem to have the same problem in non-VR. So maybe this is actually a bug in stereo projection, which is very possible. Maybe there's a bug in the shadow calculation if it's stereo. I think that actually is a bug. That's really interesting because it looks perfect here. Shadows look really good here. Let's see, is there anything? Okay, that is definitely too high for what we're doing. We're working on a very different scale here. And so not seeing that that makes a big difference for the shadows on the car itself. Come on, come check in. But that is still very worrisome. Still a little bit of flickering on the shadow there. Okay, I want to see what happens when I turn that off, because I get that that will make shadows somewhat more stable, but no, that doesn't make a difference with that. But I do get clean shadows on the... If I put that back to 20. Oops. Oh, hey, that didn't save. 20, just to see what happens. Okay, so that actually looks all right here, but that didn't look all right in the other thing. I don't know why. That's really strange. Okay. All right. So, yeah. The other thing, by the way, that I wanted to do is advanced settings. Because the shadow map settings are incredibly conservative. What does that fall under? Environment? No. Camera? No. Lights and shadows. Here we go. So, okay. That ups the res of the shadow map quite a bit. Cool. That already makes a heap of difference. I'm surprised there isn't more settings that we can do to... Oh, here we go. That's where... I want to get a little bit more bias. Why isn't there never a good... Yeah, that removes some of that, but that really... So interesting that has so much self-shadowing. That goes way bad. I really wonder where these values are coming from. Because that bias can't be 5 meters. That has to be something else. Let's see if that made any difference in VR. I'll show you. For you guys, I'm gonna maximize. Just to see a bit better what I'm seeing. Wow, there's lots of shadow crap on the left side. I'm really surprised by that. But again, because the wheels look wrong, I am really wondering if there is a stereo issue with shadows, because it looks really proper here. So that self shadowing that we see here and the gap in shadow that we see here, that to me looks like a bug in Godot. That's what it feels like. That's just going, a little bit of overlap there. But that's just going to make it look fairly ugly in there. It doesn't seem to do much. Oh, we can... The shadows be a little bit less pronounced. That's interesting. I never knew that was a possibility. It's actually pretty cool. Learn something every day. Well, refresh call. That doesn't really seem to be doing much. I'm going to move that back to 1.0 or 0.1. Ah, shadows and editor only. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. Especially with 2 splits. Probably means that we're going to have to turn the shadow off. You know, the other option is that we just fake shadow. Just to see if we can get the cost down. Again, for desktop, this really doesn't matter. I probably want to make this all quality settings in the settings menu at some point. Yeah, those, you know, I'm really just nitpicking at this point in time, and this sort of stuff is not really gonna matter at all when we actually go further with this. Yeah, guys, I think I'm going to leave it there for today, because it's already midnight here. But you know, we dressed it up a little bit nicer. We've got some nicer textures in here now. It looks... I'm actually kind of happy with this, even though it looks very repetitive. But it does make the road look a little bit real, and you know, give it a bit of an idea that it's an often used track. And at some point, we might do more with this and see if we can maybe put a shader in here that does some distortions or something that don't. Or maybe mixes a little bit more. But that's really, you know, that's overkill for what we're trying to do right now. So the next step for the next stream is going to be to change this over, that instead of us starting with the track right at the beginning, or maybe we might even still start on a starting track, but that we do a setup for the actual multiplayer thing, so that we can actually load in more players. It also means that we're gonna need to have a starting grid on all, because then as people jump in, and obviously we can also do something fun with the lights. Although I still don't get why we had those double surfaces there, so I'm not quite sure what we're gonna do with that. But obviously we're gonna make those lights go from red to yellow to green, with maybe some nice beepies sounds and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm really wondering, should we have a separate environment that we, and again, you know, leave it in chat, leave it in the comments after the video is done. Put it into the chat on my Discord channel. But I'd like to have some, you know, do we just make it very simple? We start in this just like we do right now. We're going to have a grid, player 1, 2, 3, 4, or however many maximum players we have. That reminds me, decals I don't think work in compatibility yet. But we can fake decals. There's ways to do that. It'll actually be fun to do. Yeah. So we're going to have the grid lineup, and then, you know, we'll then have the ability to either start a server or join a server. And then when you join a server, you go to the next position on the track. And then, you know, the person hosting the server can start the game, and then we can do a bunch of laps and have some fun with that. Maybe we should indeed start there and just have people spawn into the position as they do that. Yeah, I think that'll do. I think that is a good idea. You can always swap tracks around in that interface. Yeah, I think that is the way that I would like to do it. So I'm going to go and add a Node 3D here. Track. And I'm going to put the base track underneath there, so that we can remove that base track and then replace it with something else if we want to load in a different track. Yeah, that should do something fun. I think that would be cool. And then we need to have a way to identify the starting positions. Let's see. We're gonna move that over there. And I probably am gonna replace the cart at some point in time so that we can customize the carts. Else everybody has the same cart. That wouldn't be cool. Yeah, guys, I'm gonna leave it there. If nobody in chat has questions or anything to add in, I think the next stream we're actually gonna turn this into a little multiplayer thing. We're gonna try and figure that one out and get that set up. So yeah, thanks all for watching. I know that it was a little bit just repeating and cleaning up stuff that we've always done. I hope that the explanation for how I did the steering with the controllers was interesting. Oh, poor SSLX. I hope you feel better soon, mate. I really do. It's horrible to have food poisoning. So, yeah, guys, I hope everybody has a good weekend. I'm not sure what my plans are. Probably playing a lot of Helldivers. I'm really enjoying that one. But yeah, we'll see how things go. So yeah. All right, guys. See you next one. I'm gonna try and do a stream next week again because we skipped a few weeks. And I really would like to see if we can get the multiplayer thing going. And again, we'll probably just keep it to a single track for now and just make the multiplayer work. And it's going to start with creating a menu system. That's going to be the most important thing. The other thing that's going to be interesting is having a difference between the player vehicle and the remote vehicle. Yeah, well, that's something to work on. Okay, guys. Good night, everybody, and see you next time.